What is up, guys? Hope we're all good. Obviously I make a lot of hip hop, kind of old school stuff, especially with the MPC. So when it comes to mixing in Logic, I'm trying to find EQs and that and use them that are vintage, maybe have been modeled on actual EQs from the 70s or the 80s or whatever. So today I'm just going to talk you through the 3 vintage EQs that Logic gives you, so hopefully maybe you can understand them better and find it helpful. So to get to the vintage EQ section, you just obviously go into the audio effects thing, come down to EQ, then you go vintage EQ collection and you're pretty much there. So they've got a console EQ, graphic EQ and a tube EQ, and these are all modeled off different kinds of ones from, I don't know, the 70s or 80s or whatever. Let's just open up the console EQ because it's obviously the first one. Let me get up this EQ because it might be easier to understand if I've got kind of like a reference. The low cut, you can turn it on here. So here it's off, we can do this and it's not doing anything. You see this shape here and this shape here match, so that's obviously the same thing. If we put it up to 300, that will be the same as this number going up to 300. This right here will look like this, and that's quite a lot taken off. You can't see it, so you've got to use your ears and all that. Over here, we got low shelf, so I don't know, say we put it up 560 dB or something, and it's at 110. That would be this one. So bring it up to 110 and 5 dB. That would look like this. And obviously if we take it off, that would look like this if you want to boost the lows, maybe for a kick or a bass or something. Then obviously we've got the high shelf here. Say you want to cut it a bit, -18, something like this. The mid gain is a bell, so that's going to look like this. You see how it looks, and then down like that. Vintage EQs, you know, the ones that you might plug into a rack and are actually hardware, they'd have this kind of drive output thing. And when you're talking about saturation, that's what people mean. So this is the volume control, that's just like the gain, but drive is different. We can turn all of these off, and so no sound EQing is going through there, and we just turn the drive all the way up. You might be able to hear that there's a little bit of kind of rumble or distortion, like crispy. So you can hear it's obviously a little bit louder, and maybe if you're listening on headphones or speakers, there's a little bit of crispiness. That's always kind of a good thing to colour or characterise your sounds with. We've got the graphic EQ. I use this on my drum bus, actually, and I think this one's probably the easiest to use. Obviously we've got the drive here. If you wanted a low cut, you'd put all of these down here, maybe a little curve here. If you had hi-hats and you wanted to boost them a bit, you might do something like this. These numbers are the frequencies it hits at, so 1K is kind of about the middle. Here we've got the tune 0 and it's tuned to the key of B. So if your song is in the key of B, minor or major, you keep it at 0, but say it's in C, you tune 1 up, and you see how it knocks up the frequencies just a tiny bit. Obviously it knocks them up more the further you go up. So here it's knocking it up by 1000, and at the bottom it's knocking it up by 2. So next up we got the tube EQ, the last in the list of the EQ that Logic gives you. Obviously bigger than the console thing, so it's got a bit more functionality. It's got kind of a general maybe mastering bit here, and maybe if you wanted to do single instruments you'd use this up here. That's generally what I use for. Again, we've got the drive up here, so you can play around with that. Sometimes a trick I might use on kicks is that you find the frequency your kick's hitting around. So it's around 140, so I'd probably put this up to 100. Boost it maybe about 4, cut it down. So attenuate means cut, so bring the volume down, but I'd bring it down by 2. Technically we might get somewhere in the middle, and it kind of creates this bell kind of shape here. So if I turn this off, you might be able to hear the difference. I'll whack it up double. See, it kind of controls the boost to make sure it's not overloading or something like that. Over here you can do the same, so the high, the bandwidth here is the Q, so obviously if you put it to 1 or half, small bandwidth here, but if you put it to 10, it would be, you know, super wide, maybe like that. Yeah. Another little mixing tutorial right there, showing you the vintage EQs and all that. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, then I hope this helps. If you haven't already and you do enjoy my videos, obviously subscribe and turn on the post notifications so that you know when I post, generally about twice a week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.